hey, is there anything that you really want? I said, man, so many years spending the night over there. I'd get up in the morning and I'd come down the hallway and there was a couch. Hallway'd come this way and the couch would be that way. And he had a big bay window and he'd just sit and just stare out into his pasture, down his driveway. And every morning I'd get up and he'd be looking out that, and he'd have that Bible sitting in his hand. And then if it wasn't in his hand, it was just sitting right there on that table right next to the couch. I said, that Bible's pretty special to me because it's got a lot of memories for me. And then this morning I was looking through it, and I opened up, and it said, purchased from Brother Don Hines on May 30th, 1961 to Hubert Potter. So it's a pretty special Bible, so I thought, well, since I'm going to do a lesson today, I said, well, why not use Grandpa's Bible this morning and make it a little more special? So yesterday, or day before, I don't remember which, time just kind of runs together. I got up in the morning, I thought, I'm going to read in 1 Kings this morning. So I got up, started reading 1 Kings, and I read 1 Kings 3 through 1 Kings chapter 3, verses 3 through, 15, and thought, man, what a good lesson that'd be. And Matt said, man, I'm thinking about seeing if somebody wants to fill in for me. So I called him. I said, hey, I'll fill in for you. I got something I want to talk about. So he said, okay. So here we are. So I opened up my grandpa's Bible to read it, and the only thing highlighted is exactly what I was going to talk about this afternoon. Pretty neat, anyway. So the other day, my kids and I are watching the Disney Channel, and we started watching Aladdin. Well, Aladdin rubs the lamp, Genie pops out, and Genie tells him, hey, you're going to get 3 wishes. But there's stipulations on these wishes. Let me get to where I wrote them down. 3 stipulations. Genie cannot kill anyone. Genie couldn't bring anyone back from the dead. And finally, Genie could not make anyone fall in love. So, none of those 3 are what we're going to talk about today, but the wish. The wish is what we're going to be looking at today. 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 3 through 5 are the first 3 verses that we're going to touch on this afternoon. If you want to follow along, if not, you can just listen to me for a little bit. It says, and Solomon loved Jehovah, walking in the statutes of David his father, only he sacrificed burnt incense in the high places. And the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for that was the great high place. And 1,000 burnt offerings did Solomon offer upon that altar. In Gibeon, Jehovah appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, ask what I shall give thee. God was the genie that said, Solomon, if you could have anything in this world, bar none, what would you want? God had no stipulations on his question to Solomon. Can you imagine the things that would have went through most people's mind? Man, I could have money. I could get even with that guy that cut me off on the freeway. I could have the house that everybody envies. I could have the car that no cop could catch. But Solomon, which we're going to touch on now, we're going to go on in verse 6, and we're going to see the maturity in Solomon's answer. Verse 6, it says, and Solomon said, thou hast showed unto thy servant David, my father, great loving kindness, as he walked before thee in truth, and in righteousness, and in uprightness of heart with thee. And thou hast kept for him this great loving kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is this day. And now, O Jehovah, my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father, and I am but a little child. And I know not how to come, or how to go out or come in. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. Give thy servant therefore, listen to this, give thy servant therefore an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and evil, for who is able to judge this thy great people? What a mature response. He is but a child, is what the scripture says. He is but a child. And the responsibility that goes into the role that he was carrying, and all he wanted to do was please God. Not only that, but in his response, he gives God so much praise and honor and glory. You've done this for my father. You've done this for me. You've taken care of these people. You have shown so much kindness and so much everything for us. You've taken care of us. I want to lead thy people in a way that you would want me to do it. I want understanding of how you would have me to lead your people, God. Isn't that something that we should all strive for in our prayer life? How do we not, when you pray to God every day, we should always be praying, God, give me understanding to deal with whatever I'm going to deal with, life's ups and downs, dealing with raising my children, dealing with members of the congregation, dealing with people from work, dealing with whatever comes about. We need God's guidance. And that's exactly what Solomon was asking for here. And that's so important for us to take away. That's such a great lesson for us to take away from this. Verses 10 through 14. And the speech pleased the Lord, that Solomon had asked this thing. And God said unto him, because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast asked for riches for thyself, nor hast asked the life of thine enemies, but have asked for thyself understanding to discern justice. Behold, I have done according to thy word. Lo, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart, so that there hath been none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee and all thy days. God rewarded Solomon for such a mature response. He gave him exactly what most people would have asked for. He gave him the money. He gave him the power, which he already had in his reign as king. He gave him everything under his power. But he showed the maturity to ask God for understanding and how to deal with God's people. So my encouragement to us this week is make sure that in our prayer life that we always ask God for understanding. We're not going to always understand why things happen the way they do. We don't know why people pass away at a young age. We don't know why people live so long. We don't know why people are so hateful to each other. We have no idea. But we can control ourselves. And we can ask God for understanding of and discernment of how can I better serve my brethren? How can I better serve my mankind, period? We just want to be that guiding light in the community. And with God's help and God's understanding through prayer, we can do that. If there's anybody here that needs a prayer to the congregation or wants to put on Christ in baptism, please come now as we stand and sing the invitation song.